meetings are available upon request after the council meeting. For real-time transcription, visit your Apple app or Google Play Store and download services such as Live Transcribe or Live Caption. The public is encouraged to join the meeting online or by phone at the numbers printed on the agenda, which can be found on the city's website at www.diamondbarca.gov or in person at the main auditorium in South Coast Air Quality Management District. We have also allowed public comments to be submitted in advance to the city clerk. If any were received, they will be noted for the record and when we get to the public comment period. This meeting is being recorded, and by participating, you are giving your permission to be televised. This meeting will be rebroadcast every Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m. and alternate Tuesdays at 8 p.m. and archived for the viewing on the city's website at www.diamondbarca.gov. And we will now proceed to the Pledge of Allegiance and followed by the invocation. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Lowe, and then please remain standing for the invocation by Deacon Alfred Guerrero of the St. Denis Catholic Church.
Please rise, face the flag, hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us silence ourselves and put us in the presence of the Father in heaven. Oh, Heavenly Father, I thank you for this meeting of the City of Diamond Bar City Council. May you bless the agenda that we are about to discuss. Please send down an abundant blessing on our mayor, city council members, and the entire staff of the City of Diamond Bar. Give safe travels to everyone that drives through our beloved city. Send your graces on our sheriff, deputies, firefighters, and paramedics, and keep them safe from harm. Bless all nurses, doctors, and everyone in the healthcare establishment. Please give praise to all our veterans of the armed forces. May our discussion today be fruitful, conductive, and compelling for all the citizens of Diamond Bar. We ask this from our Heavenly Father. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Councilmember Lowe and Deacon Guerrero. Please be seated. And City Clerk Santana, please call for the roll.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Chow is absent. Councilmember Lowe?
I'm here.
Councilmember Tai is absent. Mayor Pro Tem Tang?
Here.
And Mayor Liu?
Here. Thank you so much. City Manager Fox, are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes to the agenda this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Fox, and the agenda is hereby approved. And City Manager Fox, are there any reports?
No additional reports this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. And we will now move to the public comment segment. Public comment is the time reserved on each regular meeting agenda to provide an opportunity for the members of the public to directly address the council on consent calendar items or other matters of interest not on the agenda that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. Although the City Council values your comments, pursuant to the Brown Act, members of the City Council or staff may briefly respond to the public comments if necessary, but no extended discussions and no action on such matters may take place. There is a 5-minute maximum time limit when addressing the City Council. At this time, I will call up speakers who have submitted a speaker card first, and then City Clerk Santana will ask those callers joining on the teleconference who may wish to speak under public comments. I have received one speaker card from Ms. Cynthia Yu of the Diamond Bar Library. Ms. Cynthia Yu.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Councilmember Lo, city staff, and members of audience. My name is Cynthia Yu from Diamond Bar Library. I'm excited to let you know that LA County Library recently launched its new overarching early learning service model, Smart Star, at all 85 community library locations. Designed and developed to meet the specific needs of our communities, Smart Start focuses on early learning, parent education and engagement, family support, and community relations. In addition to Smarty Pants Storytime on Tuesday mornings, Diamond Bar Library will offer more programs for young kids and their parents and caregivers under this umbrella. Please join us on Thursday, April 11th at 4 p.m. for the Little Chef's cooking class. Kids ages 2 to 7 will learn how to mix and measure ingredients and follow a recipe. On Friday, April 13th at 10:15 a.m., build your baby's pre-literacy, cognitive, and motor skills while enjoying songs, rhymes, and movement at our baby band program. This program is for ages 0 to 2 and their parent and caregiver. We also have a special play and explore program for children ages 0 to 4 on Tuesday, April 16 at 10:30. They will enjoy a special time of books and rhymes, followed by playtime with an assortment of developmentally appropriate toys and activities. On April 8, 2024, a total solar eclipse will across North America. A partial eclipse will be visible from the Los Angeles area at 11:12 a.m. When close to 49% of the sun's surface will be covered by the moon. Join us on April 8th for a solar eclipse viewing party in the library's reading garden. You'll learn about eclipse while you safely view the eclipse and enjoy light refreshment. We also have free solar eclipse glasses to give away at the library. They are distributed on a first-come, first-served basis until supplies last. Diamond Bar Library just got 4 new self-checkout kiosks. We are one of the 6 pilot library locations that have this touchscreen multifunctional kiosk. Customers can check out renewed library items, search catalogs, reserve a study room, and register for a library program at the kiosk. We would love to receive feedback from our customers. Please let us know of your experience and suggestions as we continue to make improvement to the kiosk. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cynthia Yu. And I got to watch the new library kiosk personally last week. It was quite amazing in the things that it can do. Thank you, Ms. Cynthia Yu. And so, Ed, if anyone else in the audience would like to address the council, please submit a speaker card. And City Clerk Santana, were there any public comments, email received, or?
No, Mayor, there were no emails submitted for public comment, and there are no callers on the line at this time.
Okay, thank you. And so, once again, is there anyone in the audience on the caller that online that would like to address the council? And seeing none, we will close the public comment. And let's move on to schedule future events. And City Manager Fox, can you please announce the schedule of upcoming events and then proceed to the consent calendar?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Please join us Saturday as we celebrate 35 years of cityhood. Our 35th birthday party will be held at Summit Ridge Park and the Diamond Bar Center from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Free parking for the event is located at Calvary Chapel at the corner of Grand and Golden Springs next to Target, and shuttles to and from the event will run throughout the day. The Planning Commission will be meeting on Tuesday, April 9th, starting at 6:30 p.m. in the Windmill Community Room at City Hall. And our next City Council meeting will be held Tuesday, April 16th, starting at 6:30 p.m. here in the AQMD Auditorium. On the consent calendar this evening, you have approval of the March 19th study session and regular meeting minutes, ratification of the check register dated March 13th through March 26th, approval of revisions to City Council Recognition Policy 2019-02, approval of a construction contract with Onyx Paving Company for the Area 3 residential street and arterial street rehabilitation projects, including various drainage improvements and additional appropriation in Prop C, Prop A, and Measure W funds, and a determination that the projects are categorically exempt Class 1 from the California Environmental Quality Act. And adoption of resolution numbers 2024-09, 10, and 11, authorizing the city engineer to prepare the annual engineers reports for landscape assessment districts 38, 39-2022, and 41-2021 respectively, and approval of a Fourth Amendment to the Consultant Services Agreement with SCI for assessment engineering services through June 30th, 2025. And that concludes the consent calendar for this evening.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fox. Would any of my colleagues like to pull anything for discussion?
Mayor, I have a question.
Okay.
Do I have to recuse myself on item number 5.5?
You do not at this one.
Great, thank you so much. Well, with that, I will make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second.
It's motion by Councilmember Lowe, and then second by Mayor Pro Tem Tang. City Clerk Santana, please call for a vote.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Chow is absent. Councilmember Lowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Tai is absent. Mayor Pro Tem Tang?
Yes.
Mayor Lu?
Yes. Thank you. And there are no public hearings on today's agenda, and we'll move on to 7.1. City Manager Fox, please provide the report.
Mayor and Council, our Assistant City Manager, Ryan McLean, will make the staff presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, and community. I'm here this evening to provide an update on the 2023 Public Safety Annual Report. And this is a document that we've put together in the last couple years, really to put forth the City Council's priority of transparent government operation. And so this report provides a one-year snapshot of the city's public safety programs, which include animal care and control, fire prevention and emergency medical services, and of course, law enforcement. And so this document includes a lot of information about each of those programs, plus a statistical overview of the last year, and in some instances, a comparison of the previous year, or even further back in the city's history to provide context. So we'll start with animal care and control, which of course is provided by our partners at the Inland Valley Humane Society and SPCA. The city has worked with Inland Valley Humane Society for a number of years, dating back to the city's early history. This service is provided under contract, and so in the city's annual budget, you will see an appropriation for that contract amount. This year, for fiscal year 23-24, we are looking at approximately $457,500 in expenditures. This total number, or net number, is inclusive of fee-based offsets, and so the city receives offsets associated with the fees collected for things like licensing and other services. IVHS, as Inland Valley Humane Society is known, is the provider for animal care, veterinary services, licensing, adoptions, the Getting to Zero program, which reduces euthanasia in the shelters, and then, of course, probably most importantly, the enforcement of the city's municipal codes associated with animals. So on the screen here, you'll see a comparison of some key categories associated with Inland Valley Humane Society for 2023 and 2022. You'll see that there's a significant number of service calls for both years. 2023 had a slightly higher number, about 1,700 total service calls. During the year 2023, 95 dogs were adopted to Diamond Bar owners, 82 cats adopted. There were 31 instances of bites that were responded to by Humane Society officers. There were 26 instances of animal cruelty that were responded to, and there were 117 total animal violations of the city's municipal code. And that is a very brief snapshot of the 2023 numbers for animal care and control here in Diamond Bar. Moving on to fire and EMS services, which of course are provided by our partners at the Los Angeles County Fire Department. There is one slight difference that you'll see between animal care and control and the law enforcement service provider, is that the city's services for fire and EMS are provided through a consolidated fire district. And so that means that instead of seeing an expenditure in the city's budget, the fire and EMS services are provided directly through a property tax assessment that property owners pay. That money goes directly to the county. The county then budgets and appropriates accordingly to fund the 3 fire stations that are located here in Diamond Bar, Station 119, 120, and 121. That also pays for approximately 40 personnel at the stations. And those personnel that are assigned to Diamond Bar stations are led by Acting Chief Robertson. Our stations have a full complement of equipment housed locally. But probably most importantly, we have access to county resources. And so the LA County Fire Department is one of the largest departments in the nation. They have very significant resources available, which is important given Diamond Bar's location. The fact that we have wildland space surrounding our city makes us susceptible to large wildfires. And so when we work with our partners at the LA County Fire Department, we have access to air support in the case of a wildfire, hundreds of extra personnel. And that's been evident in past situations where we've had spot fires or large-scale brush fires that were successfully kept from impacting local properties. In addition to our fire prevention, response, and EMS, the fire department also provides a series of programs. There are a large number here. I'll highlight a couple. And of course, in the report, there's details on each of these. But I would like to highlight the solar program. This is a program that was developed in response to the Freeway Complex fire, which I believe was in 2007 or 2008, if memory serves correctly. That fire crossed a number of jurisdictions. So we had CAL FIRE serving San Bernardino County. We had Brea Fire serving the city of Brea. We had Orange County Fire Authority in the unincorporated areas and in Yorba Linda. And of course, LA County Fire, all working on the same fire. They got together after that large-scale regional incident and decided it would be good to meet quarterly to drill and train for those types of situations and to work on the proper communication methods to make sure that response is unified in a situation like that Freeway Complex fire. So that solar group meets on a quarterly basis. They recently held their meeting, I believe, in this room earlier this year, and they rotate throughout those jurisdictions and get together with representatives from each of those departments. The brush clearance program. Again, this is an important thing given the fact that we have wildland frontage, and the fire department will go out to properties that have been identified that have proximity to that wildland area, and they'll work with the property owners to ensure that there's enough defensible space between their properties and the wildland area to try to keep any fire from reaching the property itself. And then the last one I'd like to highlight of this is the CERT program. And essentially what the CERT program is an opportunity for residents to be trained on search and rescue techniques so that in the case of a large-scale regional emergency situation like an earthquake, let's say, those residents and their neighbors have basic search, rescue, and survival skills. And so that's been a very popular program that we've offered here in Diamond Bar, or at least in the East region, by our fire leadership. Moving on to fire department statistics for 2023, you'll see that the vast majority of the almost 3,500 incidents here are rescue or emergency medical services. We did have 41 fire incidents, which is a little less than the previous year, along with 8 hazardous conditions, 55 general service calls, 150 special incidents, and 650 good intent calls, and 81 false alarms. And as far as the good intent call, that's a question that comes up quite a bit since it is a pretty large number, the second largest number that you'll see on the screen. Good intent calls are things like a mistaken fire that's called in. Let's say somebody's grilling in their backyard and the neighbor sees smoke and they call into the station saying, hey, something's on fire. And it turns out not to be a fire, but something like a barbecue. That's a good intent call. That's a very simple example, but I think it sums it up pretty well. And we'll move on to law enforcement. This is a contract model. This is the largest single line item in the City Council's budget. The council's contract with the Sheriff's Department for this fiscal year was about $7.9 million. That includes a 12% surcharge known as the Liability Trust Fund. Essentially what that is the insurance policy that we pay on that contract for any settlements associated with law enforcement action. This is, of course, funded via the general fund. We do have some small law enforcement-related funds that come in from the state and federal government, but most of those dollars fund specialized law enforcement or public safety and not the contract itself. The city has 17 personnel that it funds via this contract model. 16 of those are sworn deputies. One is a non-sworn position that is a community services assistant that assists with our parking enforcement program and things like our report writing and so forth. Our local station is led by Captain Towsey and Lieutenant Dale, and we have supplemental personnel that are not included in the contract but come with it that include our command staff, including the captain and lieutenant, our detective unit, administrative staff, all of the vehicles and equipment. Those come with the contract cost. Similar to what I explained with the fire department, we also have access to the vast resources of the department. And so when there's a situation that requires a major crimes unit, narcotics unit, anything that's specialized that the department itself has, we do have access to that and will utilize those services as needed. Our contract is supplemented by a volunteer on patrol program as well. These are very dedicated Diamond Bar residents that give thousands of hours on an annual basis and provide extra eyes and ears in the field. They do offer one particular program that I think is important to highlight, and that is the Vacation Check program. So if you are planning to be out of town, you can contact the station and schedule a vacation check by the volunteers on patrol. And in the course of their patrols throughout the city, they can stop by and make sure that everything's good at your home while you're gone. And then finally, I did mention that this is the single largest line item, the contract itself, but the City Council has also chosen to invest in additional public safety resources with the Flock Safety Automated License Plate Reader program that was launched this year and has been installed. That includes 50 ALPR cameras that are placed on major thoroughfares throughout the city, mostly at internal and external locations, as has been discussed publicly previously. And those cameras provide additional resources to law enforcement that can help us solve crimes. And as we have examples of that, we'll be sure to share those with the council and the public. So let's get down to the comparison between 2023 and 2022. Total Part 1 crime. These are uniform crime categories that are reported by all agencies to the federal government. And so this simplifies and makes the responses uniform. They're divided into two different categories, violent crime and property crime. When we look at those two together for 2023, there were 1,071 total incidents. That was up 2.4% from the previous year. It's always good to look at these numbers in context with the city's history, and so staff has put together a pretty extensive picture going back to the city's incorporation in 1990, and so we can compare where we are today with where we started and how we've done as far as trends go throughout the city's history. When you look at 2023, you'll see that our numbers are lower than our historical average, but above our historical median. when you look at total Part 1 crime. When you're looking at violent crime, we are well below our historical averages and historical median for the year with only 68 incidents. Property crime, with 1,003 total property crimes in 2023, we are slightly below the historical average and above the historical median. So to sum this up, 2023 performance was pretty much middle of the pack when you look at about 34 full years of the city's incorporation. Breaking it down to a 5-year perspective, total Part 1 crime is above both our 5-year average and 5-year median, while violent crime is slightly below the 5-year average and right on the median for the 5 years. Property crime is above both average and median for 2023. Looking at Part 1 violent crime, again, we had a 26.1% drop from the previous year. Most of the reduction is found in aggravated assault, where there's a significant decline there, over 31%. One thing to keep in mind when looking at violent crime is that the city has historically had very few violent crimes, and so any shift in those numbers, a decrease, an increase, even the difference here, which is less than 30 incidents, results in a 26% change. That's how you know that violent crime in general is low in Diamond Bar. Property crime. About over 90% of the crime that occurs that is Part 1 crime classified in Diamond Bar is property crime. You'll see that we had a 3.2% increase in property crime over the previous year, a difference of about 31 incidents. Burglaries continue to be our point of focus. There were 287 in 2023 versus 256 in 2022. Larceny makes up the vast majority of property crime. Almost 200 of those are from vehicle, and so that's a significant amount. Often those vehicle larceny cases are door pulls where someone's just looking for an opportunity and may find something sitting on a seat. If we can focus very intently on reducing those cases of larceny from vehicle, that could have a very big impact on our overall numbers. And that's a focus that our deputies that provide engagement and education outreach have focused very strongly on over the past couple years when participating in events like Neighborhood Watch or Coffee with a Cop or our other town hall style meetings that we've launched recently. Traffic, that's always an important issue given our location and the unique traffic situations that we face with the freeways and the goods movement corridors that run right through our community. So we have a dedicated traffic deputy that is also supplemented by our special assignment team. Those cars are out in the field constantly monitoring our traffic conditions, providing additional enforcement and education at our school sites and at high traffic areas throughout the city. You'll see here that there was a slight increase in the total collisions for the year. That number has increased slightly since the post-lockdown period has, the world has opened up a little bit more. There's more people on the road. We've had those incidents. We continue to provide enforcement via the citation method, and you'll see those numbers on the screen as well. Outreach and education, engagement, excuse me. This has become a big piece of our public safety program in the spirit of a community policing model. Our special assignment teams have made a real effort in cooperation with city staff to be out in the field as much as possible, interfacing with residents and business owners. I've talked a little bit already about, or at least mentioned, the Neighborhood Watch programs. There are over 100 active Neighborhood Watch programs, and we're starting to get to that time of year where those meetings will take place in earnest. Our Coffee with a Cop program, which takes place on Saturdays throughout the town, is a great opportunity for people to meet, ask questions with our deputies. We launched a Business Watch program where we went out to commercial centers to provide the opportunity to business owners to ask questions, to learn more about how they can safeguard their businesses. We have a lot of Let's Talk Public Safety online resources and tips. Diamond Bar Night Out will be a featured event during our summer concerts and movie series. And then we have multiple town hall style in-person meetings that we hold at City Hall and at locations throughout town via City Government Explained and public safety seminars. And those are, again, opportunities to learn more about the city's public safety program and ask questions directly to our law enforcement team, our fire department team, and city staff. And so I know I covered a lot of information in hopefully a short amount of time, but to summarize, the City Council continues to fund public safety as the largest general fund budget line item. And so there are millions of dollars that are invested each year into public safety. While we would like to be able to fund a deputy or a firefighter or a public safety professional on every corner, it's not something that we can do just by the sheer cost of it. But the City Council has continued to fund it at a high level and supplement it with programs like the flock safety deployment. When you look at Diamond Bar's public safety statistics, Diamond Bar remains a safe community. It's a low-crime community, but is not a no-crime community. So we all have to work together to be vigilant, be engaged, be those eyes and ears out in the field, and report any suspicious activity or unsafe conditions to the local authorities. Another thing to keep in mind when looking at these is that we are located in a very urban area with 20+ million people in Southern California, and regional property crime trends in particular will have impacts on cities throughout the area. So that's why it's important to remain in partnership with our service partners at the Sheriff's Department, Fire Department, and IVHS to make sure that we are identifying any trends, we are using our resources appropriately to address them, and working with the public to prevent crime, produce as much safety as we can when it comes to fire prevention, and just be as safe a community as we can. And so with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, and I would remind everyone that this report is available online, and there's lots of information in there, along with my contact information if there is any questions related to the contents. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McLean. And let's first go to a public comment, see if they're in-person public comment. City Clerk Santana, or are there any public comments from online?
There were no public comment emails submitted for this item, and there's no callers on the line at this time.
Thank you so much. And now we'll go over to colleagues. And Councilmember Lowe?
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. McLean. Thank you for that great report. I have a few questions, please. You indicated, you discussed the the brush clearance program. And that, I get that question quite often. How, then people will say, well, my neighbor has this big tree, has this big bush, and it's a fire hazard. Where should that resident call about their concerns, or who should they contact?
They could contact us at City Hall, and I'd be happy to get them in touch with the right person. The brush clearance program, though, just for clarity, it focuses on defined properties that are within a wildland area. And so the fire department gets a map that shows those areas and then works with the property owners in those specific areas. Now, if there is some type of situation that may not be in those areas, that could be a fire hazard, contact us at City Hall and we can get the person in touch with the right member of the fire department.
Wasn't there an inspection program that the fire department conducted? Is that different than the brush clearance program?
Yes, there are inspections. Those are usually conducted in May, kind of prior to the peak fire season. And so that's kind of done in concert with the brush clearance and inspection program.
So could somebody say, call in and say, well, can you come and inspect my neighbor's property, for example?
I believe they can, yes.
Okay, all right, great. So they should call you at City Hall to request that.
That would be fine.
Okay, great, thank you. You mentioned about good intent calls, that we had 650, and you thought that was that's a positive thing. Are there any penalties for a person if they do a good intent call as opposed to a bad intent call?
No. I don't know that I would classify it as a good thing, but it is something that shows that people are paying attention. I don't think it's indicative of any, positive trend or anything like that, but there are no, it's similar to like a Good Samaritan type thing. We'd prefer that people be safe than sorry.
Okay, great, thank you. And then you talked about the 50 flock cameras that have been installed, and I noticed that the numbers are 105 vehicle thefts. Was that for that was for 2023. Were our cameras helpful in recovering any of these vehicles that were reported stolen?
Well, our camera system was not fully deployed and active until about the second week of December. And so I don't think while we may have had some hits during the last couple weeks of December, I think this next year will paint a better picture as to the efficacy of the program instead of just a couple weeks at the end of December.
So in other words, we really don't have anything to report with respect to the efficacy of the flock cameras.
Not when you look at 2023. I do know that there have been some hits already during 2024, including some that are not associated just with stolen vehicles.
Okay, great. You mentioned about larceny crimes, and my question is regarding, we have a very robust catalytic converter etching program. Are catalytic converters, are those numbers folded into the larceny numbers, and what efficacy, if any, has been our catalytic converter etching program?
Yes, larceny includes the catalytic converter thefts, which has become a regional, if not national, trend over the last year or so. I would say that the etching program is less a preventative than an assistant to solve something that has already occurred. So if you steal a catalytic converter, there's no VIN number on there, there's no otherwise. There's nothing to identify where that came from. The point of the etching program is to get an identifier on it so that if it is ultimately stolen and there's an attempt to sell it, we can identify it and tie that theft back to a vehicle and have a case against the individual that might have taken it.
So in other words, we wouldn't know whether or not a car was subject to the etching and then subsequently gets stolen. The two really don't relate. It doesn't really even come into play until the car and its parts are recovered.
Yes, it gives law enforcement and prosecutors a better case to file if it's discovered that it was stolen and a person was seen trying to dispose of it or sell it for scrap.
Do we have any statistics about the efficacy of that etching program at all, in any kind of measure?
I don't, but I can ask our team to see if there's any examples that they could share.
Okay, and then you compare our statistics for last year with our history, and came up with a number. How do we compare with our neighboring cities or our general area? How do our stats compare with them? Say Walnut, Pomona, whatever.
We can compare those, but what we found in years of doing this is that it's not an apples and oranges comparison. And so cities that have larger commercial districts tend to have more property crime because there's more opportunity to do it. Agencies that have a mall, let's say, have more instances of larceny theft or shoplifting cases than another city would. So the numbers, while you can do a comparison, and we've looked at everything from just the raw data to per capita, it doesn't always tell the complete story. There's a lot of context that goes into that.
Do we have numbers, for example, how many Resbergs we had compared to, say, Walnut? Do we have, because we're
I
kind
could
of similar.
easily get that. We chose as part of the last couple years of this report not to do that because it didn't tell the full story as to the impacts that might have led to those numbers.
I see, okay. And then finally, I have two final questions. As the numbers show, our residential burglaries continue to increase. What programs, if you're able to say, or how are we addressing the increased Resbergs that are in our community?
One of the main things, so I think the flock program will be a key tool in the toolkit going forward. That's one. Again, we'll have to see how it plays in the next year when we have a bigger picture. In addition to the contract that the City Council has with the Sheriff's Department, There's also money that's set aside for additional undercover operations and suppression patrols. So this year, the City Council included $50,000 of extra funding where when we work with our captain and lieutenant to address trends, we can put extra boots on the ground to address situations like a trend that's upward when it comes to burglaries. And we've done that for many years. That's a key piece that we use to try to reduce burglaries. So things like that, engagement in outreach programs, reminding people that it's often a crime of opportunity. So there's a lot of tips and things that people can do to safeguard their properties, harden their homes and their businesses, and we have that information all available on our website, and that's a key part of our Neighborhood Watch and Business Watch programs as well.
And then finally, in March, we had a really disturbing incident, and I wonder if you can address that. And that's the incident at Diamond Ranch High School, where one of the students was pistol whipped by other individuals that went onto the campus. Is there anything you can tell us about that in terms of what we're doing, how we're preventing that, how the I don't expect you to address the investigation, but what can you share about that incident, and what are we doing about it?
I can share that the station leadership, deputies, and the department itself are all aware of that situation and are investigating it. I believe they had some leads as to the participants in that incident, but I'm not at liberty to say where the investigation is at this time. The captain is here this evening, and if he can provide anything beyond that, I'd welcome him to share that at the dais.
Hello, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council Member. Yes, Deputy Aaron Scheller, LA County Sheriff's Department, at the Community Relations Deputy for the City of Diamond Bar. As far as the incident that occurred, there's only so much information we can provide as far as the investigation. But the incident, basically at the end of the school day, around 3:30 in the afternoon, individuals came to the school and they were specifically targeting individuals that were there on campus. A fight ensued, and during that fight, there was a gun brandished during the incident. No one was struck with that gun. No one was pistol whipped. It was only brandished. At that point, it would have been the dean of students was there, and he actually went towards the person with the gun. And when they did, the gentleman that came to fight actually fled in a vehicle. We are aware of the vehicle. We do have the vehicle information, and we are in the investigation. We do know who these people are, and it's being addressed through our Major Crimes Bureau.
Great, thank you.
Good evening, and also just to follow up on your other question about how you're doing in comparison to the other cities, I can only tell you the cities that we patrol, which is Walnut and Rowland Heights. So last year in Walnut, sorry, that's you guys, Walnut burglaries were down 7.25%, and in Rowland Heights, burglaries were up 28.62%. And then in Diamond Bar, you guys were up 12.11%. Any other crime statistics other than burglary you'd like to? Like theft? I can give you theft as well.
Sure, theft and vehicle thefts.
Okay, so theft in City of Walnut, we were up 3.75. And in unincorporated, we were up 19.86. And Diamond Bar was down 0.65 for theft. And auto theft, Diamond Bar was at 6%. Walnut was down 9.3%. And in Rowland Heights, it was up 33.1%.
I'm sorry, was that 33 or 31%?
33.1% increase.
Sounds like Rolling Heights is,
It's busy.
yeah, busy.
It has the same problems that Diamond Bar does, is there's a lot of access from the freeway. That's kind of the big battle that we fight, is you can jump off the freeway, commit your crimes, and jump right back on the freeway. So that's kind of the big battle in this area, just how many points of entry and exit there are.
Maybe it's a good thing we have all this construction going on here in our city.
Helps,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Lowe. Mayor Pro Tem?
Okay, I have a question about the flock system. I know that the flock system is usually collecting data on real-time basis. Can it retrospectively compare compare the data it has collected with other information? For example, if there was some criminals were caught in some other cities, that the criminal's vehicle is known now, okay, so that we know the license number. So is the flock system able to go back to see if that particular vehicle has visited in this area, especially during some of the burglaries and theft at the previous date and time? Can the flock system do that?
Yes, Diamond Bar's data is stored for 1 year post collection. The Sheriff's Department also has access to other systems in other cities. Their retention schedules may differ. Some cities keep it for a year, some cities keep it for 30 days. But the station has access retroactively, in Diamond Bar's case, up to 1 year, and access to other systems that have flock, depending upon their retention schedules. And they have used retroactive collection to assist in the solving of incidents in Diamond Bar and in the station area.
Is this done by manually, or it can be done by the computerized system of the flock that they provided us with?
It has a pretty robust search feature, so you can search for vehicle, make, model, color, defining features like roof racks or stickers, the color of the vehicle, all that kind of stuff, and so you can narrow down from there. If the deputy or detective knows that a white Mercedes was in the vicinity of an incident, they can narrow down to look for any white Mercedes that might have gone through the area.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you, Mr. McLean. I have one question. I see that the animal cruelty has decreased, which is a good thing, and the violation has increased. Can you talk a little bit more about what violations are involved?
This can be a violation of any section of the municipal code. So cruelty is pretty self-explanatory. That's where there's been cruelty to an animal of any kind. The violations can be everything from leash laws to licenses, administrative type things like that, all the way up to cruelty. Cruelty would be a violation of the city's municipal code, but for purposes of this, it's pulled out of that violation section. So in total, there were 117 violations of the various sections of the city's municipal code that deal with animals, and there's a lot of different things that could go under there.
Thank you. So they are exclusive of the cruelty?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And colleagues, any more questions?
Question.
Okay. Mayor Pro
Those
Tem.
cruelty cases are usually reported by the friends, neighbors of the owners, or that the city just discovered by our staff.
In most cases that I'm aware of, there's a report that something may be happening, and then it is investigated by an IVHS officer, and at the conclusion of that investigation, they'll make a determination whether cruelty did occur or not.
Thank you. All right. So we have all questions answered. Thank you so much. And like colleagues, do we receive the report? Any colleague like to make a motion?
I motion that we receive the public safety report and thank you, Assistant Manager McLean and Captain and Deputy Schaller.
And a motion by,
I'll second.
and then motion by Councilmember Lowe, and then second by Mayor Pro Tem Tang. City Clerk Santana, please call for a vote.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Chow is absent. Councilmember Lowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Tai is absent. Mayor Pro Tem Tang?
Yes.
And Mayor Liu?
Yes. Thank you so much. And now we'll move on to council subcommittee reports and attendance reports and comments. We'll start with Councilmember Lowe.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, I have lots to report. Let me see. Let me start with my photos for the night. So this past week, I attended the LA County Library Commission meeting. I'm one of their newest commissioners, and this is a group of individuals around the community, around the county, that works with our librarian and to learn about programs and what strategic plan that they have, and really to act as cheerleaders for our library. And this is one of the things that I learned that I was really surprised, actually very happy about. As you know, April is our tax season from January to April. And did you know that the LA County Library gives free tax assistance? There's a free tax assistance resource program. And I'm showing this slide to everyone because the Sunkist Library is just in La Puente, so that's just basically our neighbor. And they're offering, oh man, we just passed it. The Sunkist Library we passed, but if you really need assistance, if this coming Friday, April 9th and April 12th at the San Fernando Library, they have such a resource. And I'm not sure, maybe Ms. Yu can give us additional information. Maybe you can talk to her when you go to our library. But our library is really very forward-thinking, and this is one program. Another program that they talked about, I was very excited before I get to this one, is that they have a program called Bridging the Digital Divide. And that's a program where they're hiring young people to help not-so-young people figure out how to work their devices. So that's a program that our library is offering. So good for our library. Okay, next slide. On the same theme of the library, in Diamond Bar, we have a nonprofit organization. It's called the Friends of the Diamond Bar Library. And what they do is they raise money to support the programs that Ms. Yu tells us about every meeting. And they are hosting, as a fundraiser, a Vino and Brushes. It's paint and sip. So there's a teacher that will lead the class in conducting a painting, and of course, beer and wine is provided. And it's $50, and it's May 19th, and it's at Heritage Park. So if you're feeling creative or you want to spend some time with friends, please consider this. This would be a fun event, and it goes to support our library. This photo is a photo of our Senator Bob Archuleta and a community member, Sonia Reed. I was privileged to attend the 2024 Women of Achievement event for the 30th Senate District. And in this event, Senator Archuleta selected 30 women who have served our community or have provided significant achievement. And our very own Diamond Bar resident, Sonia Reed, was selected, and she was honored for her work in raising money for military families. It started out as a military family Christmas thing, but it's kind of branched out. And so this group has been raising money basically all year long with gift cards, gas cards, food pantry, and of course, the very popular and very successful toy drive during the holiday season. So I just want to share that, and congratulations to Ms. Sonia Reed for being acknowledged for her hard work throughout the year. And then I attended the Capital Projects Committee out of the San Gabriel Valley Council of Government, and these are photos of the work that you see on the 60 freeway, better known as the 5760 Confluence Project. And again, thank you to our mayor for bringing the COG folks out to talk about it, about the project. And so what you're looking at here is work on the golf course and the 60 freeway. And you'll see the off-ramp for the 60 freeway starting to take shape. And one of the interesting things about this photo is that I learned that they make this big mound of dirt there, and then they wait a couple, 3-4 months to settle. And so once the dirt's settled, then they can continue to build and make the freeway. So this is the work in progress. This photo is of the 60 freeway, and you can see on the right-hand side, this is off of Palomino Drive. So this is kind of the north side of the northbound section of the 60. And in the center of the frame, you see a red, it's a retaining wall, and it goes north-south in the center of the frame. And you'll see that that is a retaining wall that's going up, and that would be the wall that will support the additional lane that's going to be built there. And we're really pleased that the contractors have heard the residents that have homes adjacent to the freeway, and they're working with them to ensure that that they are protected from all the effects of the construction. This photo is off of Golden Springs. And again, we're looking at a off-ramp that's being constructed. It's kind of in the center of the frame, and that's going to be an off-ramp that is constructed to connect with the 57 freeway that's merging with the 60. So that is in progress, and what you see here are the retaining walls that are being built. It's what you don't see that really is holding up the wall, so it's really important that the work here is done properly, and so we'll keep an eye on that. And finally, what is this? This is the golf course, and this is, again, this shows the retaining wall, and it shows the footing that it goes really quite deep, so that when they build the wall and they stack the materials over it, that it supports the wall that it's intended to submit. So for our engineering fans there, I hope that would give a lot of comfort. And finally, my very favorite project, and this is the golf course. I'm so happy to report that we have an opening date. The opening date is April 20th. Yay! So, so this is what the golf course looks like today. In fact, today was a glorious day. I was able to go out and take some photos. And so you can see that the grass is looking really good. The scene can't be beat today. This is off of the 60 freeway. What else do we have? This is another view of the golf course with some putting greens. This one is looking toward Grand Avenue. You can see one of the sand traps, and beyond, near the top of the photo, there's the work on the freeway. Again, this is off of the 60 freeway. One more. And if there was any doubt that this is the golf course, well, here it is. This is the first hole, and I believe that the celebration will be taking place at the hole number 1, April 20th. And this is the putting greens that's closest to the clubhouse, and the cafe is being remodeled, and new furniture is coming in, and we're very excited. So very exciting, April 20th. And with that, thank you, Mayor, and I will say goodnight.
Thank you, Councilmember Lowe. And Mayor Pro Tem Tan.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended a meeting last week. This meeting was a 2024 San Gabriel Valley Economic Forecast Summit. And that meeting, there was a report from some expert economists give the outlook of the economy in this area for the year to come, the coming year. I think we are interested in as a city council and as a business people in our community, as a resident community, that probably everyone will be interested in learn what will be the forecast of the economy in this area. So I can happily report that they give the forecast very positive prediction. They predict the U.S. economy will have a so-called soft landing. Depends on the some factors like Fed interest rate, unemployment rate, and Southern California, including San Gabriel Valley in this area, will probably do the same thing. We'll have a precocious but steady economic growth, and it will be led by several business like healthcare business, leisure and hospitality business and education business, and some other factors such as the logistic business will be pulled back because of the change of the economic situation. But overall, that we should be looking for a slow but gradually improving economic situation in the next year, and we should all plan according to this prediction. And besides that, I want to congratulate our city for 35th anniversary this coming weekend. I hope everybody will have a good time in attending the event. Good night.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Tang. I'd like to thank staff for the presentation and detailed reports, and also our law enforcement and first responders keeping our city safe. I'd like to thank Ms. Cynthia Yu for showing me the new touchscreen and the multifunctional self-checkout kiosks that we have in the library. And it has come a long way. I remember when I was a kid and I used to check out the book, they had to pull out this card and punch a hole and stamp a date on there. And it is great to see technology making daily life so much easier and helping our residents really make use of the free resources we have in the library. I attended the sanitation district meeting this past last week, and one of the things they talked about is there is a reported financially there's an impending rate hike increase in the double digits. It's one of the highest ones in recent years. The main reason is because there are a lot of older infrastructure, such as the pipes, that needs to be replaced. And the agency is doing their can to get ahead of the curve to repair the aging infrastructure before it breaks, which can be increased a lot more. And I also attended the Cal City's policy committee meetings in person. I have the honor of serving on the public safety committee. And I serve on the LA chapters of the Public Safety Task Force with Councilmember Lowe. And Councilmember Lowe has been very, very helpful in how we discuss using their experience as a prosecutor and in our safety, and how we, as individual cities, municipals, city level, collectively collaborate together and coming up with languages and suggestions, advocacies to for our state lawmakers to make our little municipal cities a little bit safer. Some of the main things that we talked about is retail theft. How do we combat that? The fentanyl crisis. All of that was addressed, and we came up with some very, very good collective ideas and advocacy policies to push back to our lawmakers. And also the solicitation in cities as well. So those are the three main ones, and we had a very good meeting. For this Easter, I was very, very happy to see families and kids celebrate Easter together, and very, very heart-warming, and to see our community come together and celebrate events such as this. And speaking of celebration, our 35th birthday will be this Saturday. We hope to see everyone there. There will be craft, and on top of that, I'm really looking forward to seeing the history exhibits out in our Diamond Bar Center. That's amazing. There's the craft carnival, and then also a bit of history. We get to visit the Diamond Bar Center. And with that, and I hope everyone have fun watching the solar eclipse. And I remember the last time I saw that, I was in the 8th grade in middle school. Went out in the middle of the day, I think around 12 o'clock as well, so around there. So that'd be amazing, and have fun, everyone. Then look forward to seeing you at the birthday celebration. With that, I will say good night, and it's, what time is it? 7:35, and we'll call this, adjourn this meeting at 7:35. Thank you so much. Good night.